While the rest of the world slowed down over the course of the past few months, some of us had no choice but to keep on working, maybe even working harder. That is the life of somebody in the food industry, but Mrs. Grant and I recently got to a point where we simply had to get away. But with few cottages left for rent in our price range, we had just about given up hope when Mrs. G had a revelation. We made a last minute decision to use a whole bunch of points to make a return to the place we spent the first night of our honeymoon some 32 years ago, the Millcroft Inn. We threw a couple of overnight bags into the 2020 Mazda CX-3 and off we went. In addition to the traditional type hotel rooms, the Millcroft offers what they call crofts. Basically, two-story individual units. One doesn't need to enter the hotel if they don't want to, except to check in. The Millcroft is located in the tiny community of Alton, Ontario, near the possibly more familiar town of Caledon. The area is chock full of heritage mill sites and ultra-twisty roads that inevitably follow rivers. The smallest of Mazda's crossovers, the CX-3 shares the family's sporty visual DNA while offering just enough interior space for a couple or small family. While not quite as athletic as an MX-5, the CX-3 is nimble enough to make touring some of the province's most scenic roads a joy. As most consumers expect these days, the CX-3 is equipped with multiple charging port options and the expected infotainment type apps, which are controlled by a simple and intuitive rotary control located on the center console. Available with a manual transmission and front-wheel drive for just over $23,000, our tester was a fully loaded GT model with all-wheel drive and a 6-speed automatic with paddle shifters that rings in at exactly 10 grand more. Curious vehicle contenting decisions are one of my pet peeves, and there's one small thing here that bugs me. The driver's window has an auto up and down feature, but the passenger window does not. So while the driver can one-touch their own window, they still have to hold the other one up or down. It's a small detail, but one that nags at me every time I drive with the windows down. Upon arrival at the Millcroft, guests quickly learned that staff at the inn are taking social distancing protocols more seriously than many establishments. From the front desk staff who diligently sanitizes all surfaces in between guests, to spa staff who politely ensure that guests adhere to occupancy rules, any fears of sharing a public space quickly evaporate. Our own croft included our very own hot tub overlooking the woods. It was just steps away from the mill race and yet felt completely private, so we didn't need to take advantage of the beautiful hot spring pools at the spa. Dinner is served outdoors under a giant tent positioned right beside the mill pond, with tables positioned more than 20 feet apart. It was a unique dining experience that felt safe at all times. We were fortunate to enjoy a spectacular breakfast seated right atop the concrete that forms the mill race. This one table might just be the best outdoor dining spot in the province. The Mazda's 2-liter 4-banger generates 148 horsepower and 146 pounds-feet of torque, which is enough to make the CX-3 feel lively. During our week, the spunky crossover delivered a respectable 8.5 liters per 100 fuel economy with a healthy mix of in-town, highway, and backroads driving. Our little escape proves that it is entirely possible to have a safe weekend getaway without suffering from any COVID-related anxiety. Add in the ability to enjoy some fantastic roads in a small family hauler like the 2020 Mazda CX-3, and you have the makings of a much-needed break.